the victors and those who were in the placings. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, people are still coming in, but if I could ask you now to be upstanding for the arrival of the official party. Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome all to the presentation ceremony and prize giving for the 2018 Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. With pleasure, we acknowledge the official party, Her Excellency the Governor of Tasmania, Professor Kate Warner, the Commodore of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, Tracy Matthews, the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, Paul Billingham, the Lord Mayor of Hobart, Anna Reynolds, representing the Premier, the Attorney General, the Honourable Elise Archer, MHA, the General Manager of Rolex Australia, Patrick Boutelier, representing Tasmanian Ports, past Commodore of the RYCT, Matthew Johnson, and the Governor's ADC, Lieutenant J. McGlashan. A warm welcome also to official guests, including the New South Wales Minister for the Environment, the Honourable Gabriel Upton, MP, and also representing the Royal Australian Navy, Rear Admiral Lee Goddard. Well, the 74th Rolex Sydney Hobart was another smash hit, a fast race for the larger yachts and some more traditional sailing for the medium to smaller members of the fleet. And for only the fourth time in history, a Tasmanian yacht has taken the overall prize. On that inspirational note, please welcome the Commodore of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, Tracy Matthews.
Your Excellency, sailors, volunteers, members, friends and families. On behalf of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you here today to the Federation Concert Hall for the official trophy presentation for the 2018 Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race. I know we say this every year, but wow, what a race. The 74th edition of the great race has unfolded and the story has now been written. From the sparkling start on Sydney Harbour, a changeable, challenging and sometimes frustrating weather pattern, the thrilling match racing battle between the Supermaxis resulting in an unprecedented 9th line honours win for Wild Oats 11, from the highs of the historic win to Tassie Boat Alive for overall honours and the Tattersall Cup, to the lows for those entrants who sustained race-ending gear damage en route. There's always next year. Congratulations and thank you to all the owners, skippers and crews. I have loved following your stories, your motivations and your aspirations, from the largest Supermaxi to the smallest competitors in the fleet. From our international entrants from across the world to our local yachts, Alive, Black Sheep and to unlimited. To all the sailors from every corner of the globe, including our Tasmanian sailors scattered throughout the fleet, you are all winners. I would also like to recognise the dedication and passion of our volunteers who work around the clock and without whom this event would not happen. Thank you to Dave Jordan and the race committee, Mick Hocking and the patrol boat crews, Alistair Douglas and the radio room, Peter Holmes and the finishing box, Peter and Judy Martin and your wonderful team in the Hobart Race Village Liaison Centre, including the Glenorchy Rotary Club. And of course, not to forget, the trusty band of gents aboard radio relay vessel JBW. To the international jury, thank you for your deliberations, and to the media team and crews for taking our story to the world. Thank you also to the staff of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania and the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia under the guidance of Daryl Potter and Karen Grieger. Your teams, particularly sailing managers Justine Kirchen and Nick Hutton, worked tirelessly alongside our volunteers to deliver a world-class event. To our local sponsors and stakeholders, including the Tasmanian Government, Hobart City Council and TasPorts, thank you. And of course, our major sponsor Rolex for their continuing support of our great race. I didn't grow up as a sailor, and my family on the northwest coast of Tasmania were not involved in yachting. However, for as long as I can remember, for my entire life, Boxing Day has meant two things: my father's birthday and the start of the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. We can never underestimate the impact that our race has outside our sailing community. For the thousands of families and passionate individuals who are not sailors around the world, across Australia, on the banks of Sydney Harbour or the Derwent River, and those waiting patiently at Constitution Dock at all hours of the day or night, the cheering crowds at the Taste of Tasmania, and the young families that swarm the docks to see the boats. This is also their race, and perhaps amongst them there is a young Philip Turner or a Stacey Jackson who will also dare to dream. We are the authors and the custodians of this great race, and it is a privilege for myself as Commodore and for the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania to partner with Commodore Billingham and the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia alongside Rolex as we work towards our 75th edition next year. I hope you all enjoy this afternoon's presentations and your continuing celebrations. Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you all back again on Boxing Day 2019 to write the next chapter and to keep the dream alive. Thank you.
And thank you, Commodore Matthews. I now invite Her Excellency the Governor of Tasmania, Professor Kate Warner, to express her thoughts and appreciation and to give her always unique take on this amazing Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor of Tasmania.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much, organisers, for inviting me and my husband Dick here for the presentation of trophies for the 2018 Rolex Sydney Hobart. Can I begin by paying my respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we stand, the Moanina people, and to acknowledge the contemporary Tasmanian Aboriginal community who have survived invasion and dispossession, and yet who continue to maintain their identity, their culture, and their Indigenous rights. So this is the 5th year that I've attended this ceremony, and I must say it really is a great privilege. So like Tracy and so many others, all my life I've followed the Sydney Hobart Yacht Race from Boxing Day to the beginning to the end of the race here in Hobart. And of course it's a race that's dramatically changed since that first cruise, which turned into a race between 4 yachts in 1945. Now with the 74th race in 2018, it has for some time been internationally recognised as one of the 3 classic ocean races. And yet, it still remains an event which attracts smaller yachts, such as the 30-footers. The Australian Army yacht Gunrunner is an example, crewed by serving Army members, as well as the 100-footer maxis. This year, I think we remember the tragic 1998 race, when a violent storm hit the fleet in Back Strait, and the race became a matter of survival rather than racing. 6 sailors died: Mike Bannister, John Dean, Jim Lawler, Glenn Charles, Bruce Guy, and Phil Skeggs. 5 boats sank and 66 withdrew. 55 sailors were rescued in a huge search and rescue operation that involved some 25 helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, 6 vessels, and 1,000 search and rescue personnel. So 20 years later, the safety requirements are more demanding. At least half of each crew is required to have completed a stringent survival and safety at sea course. And technology has meant that with each yacht having a tracker on the back of the boat, the race organisers know exactly where every boat is, the speed they are doing, and their course. So as usual, on Boxing Day, we watched the always spectacular start on television to see who'd be first out of the heads. This year it was Blackjack again, followed by Infotrack and Wild Oats 11, which took a rather more cautious approach to the start than last year. But Comanche soon surged to the lead, and overnight the lead swapped between Comanche and Wild Oats 11, with only 5 nautical miles separating the first 4 boats. Wild Oats 11 crossed the line at 8:07 on Friday morning, ahead of Blackjack 28 minutes later, and Comanche just 1 minute behind, and then Infotrack 9 minutes later. Dick and I were at the finishing line, and it was the most glorious, soft morning for all of us who were there. And it was so exciting with all 4 maxis on the Derwent at the same time and finishing within 43 minutes of each other. So at this stage, the Tasmanian boat Alive, just south of Maria, was leading on handicap ahead of Wild Oats 10 and Ichiban. So the 66-foot pocket maxi Alive was 5th across the line at 2:40 on Friday after an amazing duel with Wild Oats 10, also a Rachel Pugh 66, and with its all-female crew. So these 2 boats had a great sail from Cape Rao to the finish, but Wild Oats 10 had ripped her larger spinnaker on the first night of the race, which allowed Alive more speed. So I was intrigued between Alive, who to barrack for, Tasmanian boat, or the all-female crew from Wild Oats 10. We watched the presentation of the Tattersalls Cup to Alive's Phil Turner on Sunday morning and witnessed the ceremonial ducking of the skipper in the docks. As the 3rd only Tasmanian boat to win in the history of the race, it was a really popular local win. So initially, the edge may have been taken off Wild Oats 11's line honours win, but with the dismissal of the protest and exoneration of the boat, Wild Oats 11 was confirmed as its 9th line honours win. So Dick and I have had a wonderful time walking around the docks and being part of the welcoming crowd. And we both want to congratulate all of the sailors who've stepped up to compete in the Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race, wherever they've finished. It's great to know that the last 2 yachts, Gunrunner and Chancellor, arrived safely just after midnight last night, in very good time for the New Year's Eve celebrations. So to Rolex, sponsor of the race since 2002, I say thank you for your support of this event. The magnificent watches presented to the winners are a fitting and lasting memento of their achievements. And last, but certainly not least, I must thank all of the organisers, volunteers and staff who have made this year's Rolex Sydney to Hobart race such a success. It's an enormous undertaking and I congratulate them on a job well done. We visited the race control room and radio room at the RYCT on Thursday and so gained a really good understanding of of just how many volunteers are involved in this race. So thank you again for inviting me to participate in this wonderful event.
I'll ask Her Excellency to remain standing to present the next round of trophies. And as we've just witnessed, Her Excellency is better informed than most of us here today on the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. So the first yacht out of Sydney Heads, the Jack Brooklyn Memorial Trophy and Cannon, second over the line, and third on ORCI Division 1, the winner, Blackjack from the Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron, Mark Bradford. Crewman Liam Wolfe is coming to the stage to accept the trophies on behalf of the owner Peter Harburg, and just finishing 28 minutes behind Wild Oats 11. So wonderful performance from Blackjack, second over the line, first out of Sydney Heads for the second year in a row. Congratulations to Liam Wolfe and the Blackjack crew from the Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron. I'll ask you to remain there, Liam, because you are now going to accept the next trophy for third over the line on behalf of Comanche, last year's line honours winner. So Comanche, third over the line, and Liam Wolfe to accept on behalf of Jim Cooney and Samantha Grant, the owners. The first yacht due south of Tasman Island, the F&J Livingston and Replica Trophy, and the Line Honours Trophy. It's the J.H. Illingworth Trophy and Replica and Cannon, and it goes to Wild Oats 11, Mark Richards and the Oatley family. A record Line Honours victory for the 9th time for Mark Richards. Another magnificent race after being first across the line last year. So the F&J Livingston and Replica and the famous J.H. Illingworth Trophy presented to Mark Richards. And I'll now ask the General Manager of Rolex Australia, Patrick Boutellier, to present the Rolex Yachtmaster timepiece to Mark Richards, the winning skipper. And Mark, I know you've made a flying visit back from Melbourne, back from Sydney, I should say, to join us. So perhaps you'd just like to say a few words after the dust has settled after the 74th.
Sure, thanks, Gordon. Look, I'd like to congratulate everyone on an amazing event, from the all of the owners, skippers, crews, the organisation committee, the race committee, all of the volunteers. I mean, what an amazing event, the 74th Hobart, and I think everyone who's ever competed in this event would be very, very proud of what we've achieved this year. At the front of the fleet with the 400 footers, 5 to start off with. It was unfortunate the Scallywag had to retire, but the 4 final boats, I mean, what an epic battle we had. It was just unbelievably close the whole way. And I've said to many people, if we had finished 4th in this race, I probably would have still been pretty happy of the achievement, but I'm happy to take that trophy home. So, but a wonderful event, and I just want to thank everyone involved. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mark Richards. And yes, it certainly sets things up for the 75th race next year. I was speaking to Brad Kellett, who's with the Christian Beck InfoTrack campaign, and it looks as though they're going to build another Super Maxi for next year. So how exciting is that? But thank you very much to Her Excellency and also Mark Richards. I'll now call on the Commodore of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, Tracy Matthews, to present the next round of trophies. And the first female skipper the Jane Tate Memorial Trophy and half model goes to Wild Oats 10, Stacey Jackson. More than 70 Hobart races in this wonderful professional women's crew, representing Ocean Respect Racing and 11th Hour Racing, and promoting a planet free of plastic waste. Stacey Jackson heading up the first ever professional female crew. Congratulations, Stacey, and what a two-man war it was with Alive, the two Reichel Pugh pocket maxis. First in the cruising division, Relish 4, owner Leanne Lynch. Relish 4, 29 years old, and Alan 43, and competing in her second Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. That's a fantastic result to win the cruising division for owner Leanne Lynch. Then we move on to second in ORCI Division 3 and second in IRC Division 3, Enterprise, Anthony Kirk. Proudly representing Western Australia from the Fremantle Sailing Club. 9 first-timers in the crew. And Enterprise Anthony Kirk, definitely a Star Trek connection there. Second in ORCI Division 3 and second in IRC Division 3. Anthony Kirk from the Fremantle Sailing Club. Congratulations. First in ORCI Division 3 and first in IRC Division 2, the Tasports Trophy and the Peter Alsop Memorial Trophy and replica, St Jude, Noel Cornish, Vice Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. St Jude, a brilliant all-rounder, the Sydney 47, and Noel has competed in every Hobart race in St Jude since 2008. So a very proud moment for Noel Cornish, the Vice Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. And the Vice Commodore has a handful. Thank you very much, Commodore Matthews. I'd now call on past Commodore of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, the Executive General Manager of Marine Services and Shipping at Tasports, Matthew Johnson. Please welcome him to present the next round of trophies. Third in PHS Division 1, Helsel 3, the Helsel 3 Syndicate, David Stevenson. Helsel 3 competing in her 18th Rolex Sydney Hobart. She was launched back in 1984 for that gale-torn race where 103 yachts retired. The Helsel 3 Syndicate from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, the famous Adams 20, completing her 15th race from Sydney to Hobart. Congratulations, David Stevenson. Second in PHS Division 1, Peckle Juice, skippered by David Sutty. And some very strong support from the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club. Congratulations, David. Second, PHS Division 1 in Peckle Juice. And David's son, Robert, famously proposed to his partner, Olivia Holtz, at the dock last year. Everything still going okay? Still working, I'm told. First in PHS Division 1, the Ranzar Trophy, and third in the Corinthian Division, Wax Lyrical, Les Goodrich from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Each year, Wax Lyrical bloods at least one Youth Sailing Academy member, several experienced female sailors on board. Congratulations to Les Goodrich and Wax Lyrical. First in PHS Division 1, third in Corinthian Division. First in ORCI Division 4, Grace O'Malley, Zoe Taylor. Also first in IRC Division 3, the RORC Trophy and Replica. The brilliant Cookson 12 from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. And Zoe Taylor, last season's Blue Water point score, named Ocean Rookie of the Year. What a wonderful performance by Zoe Taylor and Grace O'Malley. First in ORCI Division 4 in the Cookson 12. Now third in ORCI Division 3 and second in IRC Division 2, a very famous Rolex Sydney Hobart boat from Victoria, Hutzpah, the Caprice 40. Bruce Taylor from the Royal Yacht Club of Victoria, competing this year in his 38th Sydney Hobart. 6 of the crew had over 20 Rolex Sydney Hobarts. Navigator Kingsley Peace, his 37th this year, Gavin Goulet and Peter Fetcher, their 32nd race. And Hutzpah, always a major contender for handicap honours, but the breeze wasn't kind at the end this year for the champion boat. Thank you very much then to the past Commodore from Tasports. And I'd now like to call on the Attorney General of Tasmania, representing the Premier, the Attorney General, the Honourable Elise Archer, MHA, to present the next round of trophies, but firstly to convey her message on behalf of the Tasmanian Government. Please welcome the Honourable Elise Archer.
Well, thank you for that warm welcome, and perhaps it should be me extending a warm welcome to you all. In terms of our weather this year, I think we've certainly done that. Congratulations to you all on behalf of the Premier of Tasmania, Will Hodgman, our Tasmanian Government, who have completed this great race this year, especially to Line Honours winner Wild Oats 11. Another tough year, especially with our unpredictable weather conditions along that final stretch of the Derwent River. Also to Alive, our handicap winner, first Tasmanian yacht to do so in 39 years. Congratulations to you also. And on a personal note, it's also wonderful to be here, but to also witness so many of our female yachties doing so well this year as well. So congratulations to you all for participating as well, and for the awards that you're taking out as well. This year was another fantastic edition of the Sydney to Hobart. Most importantly, particularly given it's the 20th anniversary of the tragic loss of life in the 1998 race. So I'm very pleased that you have all arrived here safely in Hobart. It's wonderful, of course, to have you all here in Tasmania. We're very proud of our role and association with one of the world's greatest sporting events. Welcoming the Sydney to Hobart yachts and participants to our great state is, of course, an iconic part of our summer festivities here in Hobart. I would like to acknowledge the continued support of the naming rights sponsor Rolex and the other organisations, of course, who work tirelessly to make this event possible, particularly race organisers, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, which is supported locally by the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. So thank you for your continuing association with this race as well. Also to our volunteers, of which there are too many, of course, to name here, but the volunteers of the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania play a huge role in the event, meeting the crews, escorting them to their berth in Kings Pier Marina, and just creating that wonderful atmosphere that I know that you all appreciate as you arrive here in Hobart. And to the Hobart crowd, and of course some of you mainlanders who come down here to Hobart, we do welcome all of the race winners, but everyone who crosses that line, I think, gets that winner's welcome in Hobart, and I know that you would all appreciate that as well, whether it's rain, hail or shine, or indeed windy conditions. Without our volunteers, though, the event would not be what it is. So I'd like to acknowledge you all and thank you all for your assistance provided in making this event a success, and of course a smooth and seamless process for everyone participating. So congratulations again to you all for those who have competed in this year's Sydney to Hobart. Please enjoy your remaining time in Hobart. Please come back as well. Partake in our fantastic food and wine and other festivities and our weather as well. It is like this for the rest of the year. You do realise that sometimes in Hobart we just like to throw up a few difficult conditions for you. We hope to see you again next year in what promises to be a great race again, the 75th Sydney to Hobart. So thank you.
The Attorney-General will now present the race medallions for 50 and 25 Rolex Sydney Hobarts. And firstly, the two 50 race recipients. Bill Ratcliffe. Bill sailed his first Sydney Hobart with the legendary Don Mickleborough in 1963 aboard Southerly and missed only one race in his first 32 races, aboard many famous yachts including Ronita, Cavalier, Maria Van Diemen, Pasha, Mercedes 4 and Margaret Rintle 2. Bill raced his own S&S 34 Marara on 11 occasions between 1983 and 1995. A noted seaman and excellent helmsman, Bill has been in high demand over the years for his vast experience, completing his 50th race this year aboard the 29-year-old 43-footer Relish 4. Congratulations, 50 races, Bill Ratcliffe. He is the greatest. Absolutely unbelievable achievement, Bill. And also achieving that rare feat. Colin Wildman, sailing his first race aboard his family's yacht, Struan Marie, in 1963, Colin became a sought-after hand aboard many famous yachts. Mr. Christian, Taurus, Ragamuffin and Patrice. A great seaman and helmsman, he joined David Kellett in 1983 aboard Vengeance, sailing in 12 races with David, including the 1987 Line Honours and Handicap victory aboard Sovereign, as well as Condor and also Sydney. For the past 18 years, Colin has been a vital member of the radio relay communications team, assisting with the safety of the fleet during the race in all weather. Colin has asked that Dave Kellett, his skipper in 30 of his 50 races, to accept his medallion. I think that is most fitting. Please give David Kellett a big hand. And Dave, I'll ask you to remain because you're going to be receiving some more medallions on behalf of our 25 race medallion winners. So now we move to the 25 race achievement, and firstly Michel Formosa. Michael sailed with Josko Grubik aboard Anaconda 2 for his first race in 1981 and was hooked, becoming a stalwart of the race with various skippers and staying with them for many years, including Peter Bush aboard Blind Panic and Rager from 91 to 95, Patrice 6, 2010 to 12, and Abracadabra 14 to 17. He sailed his 25th race this year aboard Kevin Whelan's Beneteau 45, Reeve. 25 races for Michel Formosa. Joining him on 25 race medallions is Sam Hunt. Sam winning his first race in 1993 aboard Solborn Wide Oats with the redoubtable Roger Hickman. And one would wonder why he continued, but he did. And Sam went on to miss only one race in the next 25. Having survived being winched off Sword of Orion in 1998, he went on to sail on many top yachts, including Nicorette for Line Honours in 2000, and winning his second race aboard Bumblebee 5 in 2001. And this year, he sailed aboard the TP52, Matthew Donald and Chris Townsend's Guelo for his 25th race. And David Kellett will accept on behalf of Sam Hunt. 25 races. Next medallion recipient, a man who needs no introduction, world champion sailor Ian Murray. Yacht designer, he commenced his Hobart experiences in 1977 aboard the English yacht Knockout, before sailing for many years with Peter Kurtz aboard Once More Dear Friends and Madeline's Daughter. He raced on several yachts in the 90s, including his own designs, Sydney in 1996 and Bumblebee 5 in 1999, in 2000, and also winning the Tattersall Cup aboard her in 2001, the first of his 3 overall wins in the race and the first designer to skipper his yacht to victory since the Halverson brothers in 1965. Ian achieved his 25th Rolex Sydney Hobart aboard Wild Oats 11 this year, and the 14th time he's raced south on the mighty 100-footer, achieving 9 Line Honours victories and 2 overall wins in Wild Oats 11. David Kellett again to accept on behalf of the great Ian Murray. 25 races. Next 25 race recipient, Jim Nixon. Unlike most who achieve 25 races, Jim has only sailed in 5 yachts and all under 36 feet long. He is a yacht owner's dream, reliable and dedicated, as well as an excellent seaman, missing only 2 races in 27 years. His first race in 92 with John Walker aboard Impeccable. He went on to sail 11 races with John before joining the crew of Copernicus for 6 races, and for the past 5 years has sailed with Shane Kearns aboard the beautiful SNS 34 Komatsu Azuro. Well done, Jim Nixon. And the last recipient for 25 races is John Whitfield. John sailing his first race in 1990 aboard the 30-footer Nazulu with Ed Saltis. He went on to sail 15 races with Ed on the various Midnight Ramblers, including the overall win in the epic 1998 race. He's a fine seaman. John has skippered yachts with sailors with disabilities in the race over the years. Sailing with his old mate, Kim Jagger, aboard Sankon for his 25th race this year, he has only missed 4 races since 1990. Ladies and gentlemen, 25 Rolex Sydney Hobarts for John Whitfield. And so we move on to the next round of trophy presentations. And third in ORCI Division 4, Black Sheep, Matthew Pilkington and Robin Goulet from Tasmania. Black Sheep, one of 3 Tassie entries this year from the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. Matthew Pilkington and Robert Goulet, the brothers-in-law, the Beneteau 45, acquired after last year's Rolex Sydney Hobart. Congratulations, 3rd ORCI Division 4, the Tasmanian entry, Black Sheep. Third in IRC Division 4, Midnight Rambler, the Rambler Syndicate, headed by skipper Ed Saltis. Ed, the famous winner of the Gale Torn 1998 race, the 20th anniversary this year, Ed sailing down in his 37th Rolex Sydney Hobart with his core crew of 6 old hands and 2 young guns. My words, or his words, not mine. But congratulations to Midnight Rambler, the Rambler Syndicate, and skipper Ed Saltis. Second in ORCI Division 4 and third in IRC Division 3, Sail Exchange, Carl Crawford and Tim Hawkins. Carl, a 4-time winner as a crewman in the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. What an achievement. And this was his first race as skipper of his own boat, the Cookson 12 Sail Exchange. So congratulations to Carl Crawford in his 33rd Sydney Hobart and Tom Hawkins. Second in ORCI Division 4 and third in IRC Division 3. Well done, Sail Exchange. And second in IRC Division 4, Papillon, Phil Maloney, in his 28th race. The splendid 40-footer, and Phil was saying that the crew are from all over the shop, all over Australia, and even one of the crew members, Alex Snyder, from the United States of America, from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, and 7th race for Papillon. Congratulations, Phil Maloney. Papillon, second in IRC Division 4. The first small boat across the line, the Battery Point Trophy and half model, and second in Corinthian Division, Sankont from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, Kim Jagger. Kim competing in his 33rd Rolex Sydney Hobart, and navigator Anne Lawrence, her 14th this year. And an amazing crew on Sankont, over 170 Sydney Hobarts in their crew. First small boat across the line, and second in Corinthian Division for Kim Jagger and Sankont from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. And finally, first in IRC Division 4, the Sir Arthur Warner Trophy and replica, Osrio from the Greenwich Flying Squadron, Ian Creek. Oh, it looks as though the whole crew's coming up, or just Ian. Well, I think this is well deserved because in Ian's word, he spent the national debt getting the boat ready. But he does have some space left on his desk at work. He said he wanted some crystal. So first in IRC Division 4, the Sir Arthur Warner Trophy and replica, Osrio, the Greenwich Flying Squadron, Ian Creek and his crew. Congratulations, Osrio. First in IRC Division 4. Another photo opportunity. It's a very special moment for this boat and crew and skipper. Thank you very much to the Attorney-General. And I now invite the newly elected Lord Mayor of Hobart, Councillor Anna Reynolds, to firstly extend her appreciation on behalf of Hobart City Council for the organisers and also the competitors. The Lord Mayor of Hobart.
Thank you, everybody. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's lovely to have you all here in Hobart, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak today and be part of this ceremony. We're always really pleased at the City of Hobart to be part of this fantastic event. It really has helped put Hobart on the international map, and we are a small city on the edge of the world, so all of the attention, the global attention that comes through being part of this race is very much appreciated. And wasn't it amazing advertising for Hobart on the finish day? I was actually lucky enough to be out on the Derwent with the Royal Yacht Club, and Hobart just looked fabulous. And all of the residents, so many of them came out. I could see residents in Kingston and Sandy Bay, up at Alexander Battery. I could see people along all of the shoreline of Battery Point, and then also in the city. So the community very much loves this event, loves being part of the finish. And of course our Taste of Tasmania event, which I hope you've all had a chance to get to or will in the next few days, actually the idea came out of the Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race and an interest in providing something additional for all of the race participants, and it's grown into such an amazing part of Hobart's summer festivities as well. So we thank the race also for helping to be the catalyst for that amazing event. We do play a role in the finish and the event. We provide the Mawson's Pavilion as one of the venues for the media centre, and we also inform patrons of the Taste of Tasmania when yachts do arrive and they come past the Taste of Tasmania, and often there's a big cheer that comes from people that are there, which I think many of the crews appreciate. So we look forward to our ongoing association with the race and thank everyone who's been involved, the winners, the participants, the organisers, the volunteers. All of your roles are so important in making this a fantastic event, and we're very much looking forward to talking about what happens for the 75th anniversary, because that's going to be an amazing year as well. So thank you all, and Happy New Year.
Councillor Reynolds will now present the next round of trophies, and firstly, for the yacht travelling from the furthest port to compete. It's the Polish trophy and plaque, and it goes to Lunatics. Friedrich Bernert from Germany. Lunatics has sailed 18,000 miles with his wife Heinke and children Arno and Inga, and representing the Norddeutsche Regatta Verein Yacht Club in Germany. Congratulations to Lunatics. They'll continue from Hobart back to Europe via South Africa. They finished second overall in the transatlantic race this year, and so great to have them here, travelling all the way from Germany. Friedrich Bernert from Germany. The first yacht under 9.5 metres across the finishing line, the Plum Crazy Trophy, the first armed services yacht on corrected time, and the first Corinthian yacht. It's the Plum Crazy Trophy, the Ogden Cup and plaque, and the York Family Trophy. And the winner is gunrunner Lieutenant Colonel Rees from the Australian Army. The smallest boat in the fleet at 30 feet, the same size as the Tasmanian yacht Screw Loose that won the race way back in 1979. Lieutenant Colonel Rees Young, their crew have a budget of just $4,000 for the year, so this is an amazing performance. The Army Sailing Club, we love you. Gunrunner, the smallest boat in the fleet, skippered by Lieutenant Colonel Rees Young. Third in IRC Division 2, Patrice, Tony Kirby from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Patrice finished third in IRC last year. They're also carrying the brand of Kids Cancer Council Project, and the CEO of Kids Cancer Project, Owen Finnegan, the World Cup winning Wallaby, was on board this year. It's a fantastic cause. Congratulations to Tony Kirby. In 2017, he was the CYC's Ocean Racer of the Year, and his 36th Rolex Sydney Hobart this year. Navigator Michael Bellingham, his 27th. Third in CI Division 2, from the United States of America, Prospector Shelter Island Yacht Club in the USA. Give them a big Hobart welcome. The Shelter Island Transatlantic Partners, skipper Terence Glacken, and there are 4 equal owners in the boat: Larry Landry, Paul McDowell, Dave Sawicki, and Marty Roche. And there they are. The Shelter Island Yacht Club in the United States. 3rd ORCI Division 2. Very competitive boat and doing very well on handicap, completing the race in 2 days, 5 hours and finishing 6th on handicap. That is a mighty performance by the US boys. And 3rd in IRC Division 0, also from the United States of America, Privateer, the Cookson 50, Ron Hanley. From the New York Yacht Club, Privateer, the Cookson 50, really the TP52s, Matt Allen and the boys all the way. They finished 7th on handicap, completing the race in 2 days, 12 hours. And this is a very well-performed boat. 2nd overall to Rambler in the RORC Caribbean race this year. Ron Hanley with his canting keel, a sister ship to Victoire, which won our great race in 2013. Privateer, Ron Hanley, 3rd IRC Division 0 from the United States. Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. I'd now like to call on the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, Paul Billingham, to extend his welcome and give his take on this year's great race.
Thank you, Gordon. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, volunteers, skippers and crews. It really has been an incredible 5 days this year to deliver what has been, I think, the most exciting and closest race in recent memory. It was a race sailed in generally good weather, I think, apart from the morning of day 3 around Tasman Island, where the sailmakers got some value for money. But as the custodians of this great race, on behalf of the board and members of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, I want to thank you all for your support both on water and off water and the part you played in delivering it. I use the word custodian because for me as the newly appointed Commodore of the CYC, there's a huge sense of history, the responsibility that we have, especially I guess this year, given the 20th anniversary of the 98. There's a desire to deliver a race that evolves and constantly appeals to both sailors and spectators. And where else in the world would you have the Governor of Tasmania giving Mark Richards tips on starting than in some here? So we know that the interest is there and we have to keep that appeal. And so we know there's a need to learn, to constantly improve, to evolve the race towards the future. Now this is actually my 5th year in Hobart, learning what makes this race tick, what makes it successful. And it sticks out a mile that what really works here is the collective goodwill of all of you here, both sailing and non-sailing, to contribute to an excellent race, one that goes down in the memory each year. We all want to deliver the best race, the best experience, the best memories that we possibly can, and that comes through to all those who visit from overseas. And so I want to recognise all those who annually commit their time over the Christmas period to make this such a great success. Obviously the staff and the management of the CYCA and the RYCT, it's not just a one-week effort. Efforts start next week for next year's 75th edition. For the army of volunteers both here in Hobart and in Sydney, their praises are without prompting spoken of very, very highly from the competing yachts, and so thank you once again for what you've done. To the government, the statutory authorities, the rescue authorities who collaborate so well behind the scenes to make this race work. To those who take on special responsibilities, the race committee, the flag officers, the jury members, the media and so on, the pressure is high on these people. At a time when we should be relaxing, they have to deliver. They take that very seriously and expectations are high of them. And finally, the yachts and their crews. It really is all about the sailors. The rest of us are here to try and make you look good and try and give you the experience that you look for. So as we leave Hobart this year, we take away those memories of what I think has been a great race, but also conscious of the need to continuously improve, to work collaboratively with skippers, officials and authorities to constantly find ways of doing things better. And that's what we commit to do at the CYCA going forward. I too look forward, obviously with great excitement, for the 75th year, not just of this great race, but also of the founding of my club, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. And it's with a sense of anticipation and also deep commitment to build on the legacy of the last 74 years that we do look forward. So thank you all once again for the part you've played. Thank you, Rolex, for your unwavering support as the best possible supporter of ocean racing in the world, and certainly with the CYCA. And thank you all for your support and attendance, and I do look forward to seeing you here in 12 months' time for what will be hopefully another fantastic episode of the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commodore Billingham. Ladies and gentlemen, just before the ceremony started today, the Governor was informed of a belated commitment. So Her Excellency is going to have to depart prematurely. So I'd ask you now to be upstanding for the departure of Her Excellency and Richard Walker, and also the ADC, Lieutenant J. McGlashan. But it has been a real privilege and honour to have Her Excellency, the Governor of Tasmania, Professor Kate Warner, with us here today with her husband, Richard, and the ADC, Lieutenant J. McGlashan, and our best wishes to you, ma'am, for 2019 and the new year. Please give a hand to the Governor of Tasmania. Back to the trophy presentation. Second in ORCI Division 2 and third in IRC Division 1, Ichiban Matt Allen, last year's handicap winner. Well, Matt and Ichiban, the TP52, were leading the Rolex Sydney Hobart in 2018 on handicap for most of the race, but the weather gods weren't kind in the end. But another mighty performance by Ichiban. It went so close to backing up her fabulous victory last year. Congratulations to the President of Australian Sailing, former Commodore of the CYC, Matt Allen and Ichiban. Third IRC overall, the RYCT Trophy and Replica, the Storm Bay Cup and Replica, first in ORCI Division 2, the Tasports Trophy, first in IRC Division 1, the George Barton Trophy and Replica, and it goes to Voodoo Hugh Ellis. Hugh bought this boat in San Diego, the home of the Reichel Pugh design team. She's a downwind flyer. The crew sailed her back via Tahiti and Fiji, and she competed this year in the Transpac race. And also on board was Julian Freeman, the nephew of the late Graham Frizzle Freeman, who was sailing master on Bumblebee 4 when she took line honours in 1979, and then was sailing master on Tasmania when she took line honours in 1994. So Julian Freeman, I'm sure his late uncle, Frizzle Freeman, is looking on with great pride here today. Julian completing his 29th Rolex Sydney Hobart. Congratulations to Voodoo Hugh Ellis. Second in IRC Division 0, second ORCI Division 1, and second in IRC overall. The City of Hobart Trophy and Replica, the Bass Strait Cup and Replica, and the Solo Trophy and Replica. And it goes to Wild Oats 10, Ocean Respect Racing, 11th Hour Racing, the Oatley family, and Stacey Jackson. Please give a big hand to the professional crew from Wild Oats 10. Who knows, but for that torn spinnaker, they could have been in the number one position on the podium. But an amazing performance. It was a private war, wasn't it, against Alive. Second IRC overall, second ORCI Division 1, second IRC Division 0. and Stacey with her passion for sustainability of our oceans and the elimination of plastic waste. Well done to Wild Oats 10, Stacey Jackson and crew. And now a very special award. This is the Meritorious Service Award. It's a plaque to the RYCT past Commodore, Alastair Douglas OAM. Alastair has been a volunteer member of the Hobart Race Committee for the past 24 years, 19 of those as chair of the Communication Subcommittee. Alastair has also been a proactive contributor to the RYCT's Volunteer Succession Plan, and as we proceed towards the 75th Sydney to Hobart race, Alastair will be closely mentoring a worthy replacement to take over this ever-important role. Ladies and gentlemen, the Meritorious Service Award to Alastair Douglas, OAM, from the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. Thank you, Commodore Billingham. I'll now invite the General Manager of Rolex Australia, Patrick Boutellier, to present the next round of trophies, after which he will be making his final remarks. Please give a big warm welcome to Patrick Boutellier, the General Manager of our major sponsor, Rolex Australia. The first yacht, under 18.5 metres, across the finish line, the Apollo Trophy and half model, and it goes to, sorry Patrick, we've got to get the trophies first then. I'll start again. The first yacht under 18.5 metres, across the line, the Apollo Trophy and half model, Winning Appliances, John Winning Jr., and accepting, on behalf of the crew, Tom Spithill. Please come forward, Tom. Younger brother of Jimmy Spithill, and Tom is going to say a few words because this was a very poignant occasion. This is the Apollo Trophy, and Peter Dean, son of John Dean, who perished in 1998, was on board Winning Appliances. So, Tom, I'd ask you to just make your little address here in this rather emotional time.
Thank you, Gordon, for the opportunity. As you mentioned, had the great privilege of sailing with Pete, and it was a trophy. I guess there's so many great trophies to win tonight, and we didn't realise that we were in the running to win the Apollo Trophy. But this is from Pete, a bit of a story about Apollo. So Pete's talking about his dad here. He went down to see a mate off. Apollo was a man short. He had some sailing gear in his car and decided to jump on. My mum was waiting for him at South Head to watch the race. Woody sat next to her, to Peter's mum, and she asked if she had seen Deanie. Woody's response was, "See that boat, first out the heads? He's on that, and he told me he'll see you in 5 days' time." So we're very honoured, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tom Spithill. And Apollo was skippered by Jack and Warwick Rooklyn in that race in the late 70s, and arrived back only a matter of hours before the start of the race. So they had to load up with supplies and get all the safety checks done at the last moment, and then came through and won, and also picked up a very special crewman, as we've just been told by Tom. The designer of the winning yacht, the Alan Payne Memorial Trophy and replica, goes to Alive. Phil Turner, Duncan Hine, skipper from Tasmania, the Ratcliffe design. And in this downhill race, it was a triumph for the Ratcliffe design team. So Duncan and Kate Hine. Kate is the manager of the Tasmanian boat Alive, and the designer of the winning yacht, Ratcliffe. We'll ask Duncan and Kate just to hover because they have some more trophies to collect in just a few moments. The navigator of the winning yacht, the Bill Owen Memorial Trophy and replica, again alive, the navigator Wouter Verbraak from the Netherlands. He's also navigator of the first Tasmanian yacht on corrected time and receiving the City of Hobart Trophy and plaque. And now the climax, the first Tasmanian yacht IRC, the Tasports Trophy, the first ORCI Division 1, the Charleston Trophy, the first IRC Division 0, the Rushcutter Trophy and replica, and first IRC overall, the Tattersall Cup and replica, the RORC plaque and replica, the Government of Tasmania Trophy and replica, alive, Philip Turner, and to be accepted by Duncan and Kate Hine. They'll need a semi-trailer to get all these trophies home. Just the fourth win ever for a Tasmanian boat. And Duncan, would you like to say a few quick words? I know you are a reluctant talker, but how are the crew? And tell us about the wonderful race with Wild Oats 10. And you might just need to pull the mic down a little, so that's it.
I left my notes behind.
How are you feeling?
I've stopped. The race against Wild Oats 10 was very good for us. Kept us on our toes. We didn't stop. We always were watching them. They were nearly always within sight, and it was very helpful. It was brilliant racing. So, first off, I'd like to thank Rolex for putting their name to this great race and making it more famous as a result. The Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, the Royal Tasmanian Yacht Club, for making this race possible. I'd also like to thank Philip Turner for his friendship, unwavering faith and support. My crew worked tirelessly throughout the race with the most positive vibe and harmony that I've ever experienced while racing. And lastly, of course, I'd like to thank my darling and amazing wife, that without her we'd never actually reach a start line. Thank you.
And Kate is the project manager. Give her a big hand. And now the crowning moment. I'll ask the General Manager of Rolex Australia, Patrick Boutellier, to present the Yachtmaster timepiece to the overall winner. Congratulations, Duncan and Kate, and also to Phil Turner. I'll now ask Patrick for his closing remarks as we all celebrate the success of the 74th Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race.
Thank you, Gordon. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's obviously a great honor to be standing here in front of you all, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for organizing such an amazing event We are obviously at Rolex, we are very proud to be part of this. I always say that the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race is the jewel in the crown of many events that we are supporting around the world. And it's for me every time a great pleasure to come back first to Sydney for the start, and then obviously here to Hobart to see the amazing hospitality, to meet so many sailors. That shows us as well that the support is greatly appreciated. I would like to thank as well the two yacht clubs for the Immaculate organization of the race. All the volunteers, you have done a fantastic job, so thank you very much. As you know, Rolex doesn't only tell time, Rolex does it as well tell history, and in the years since 2002 that we have supported this race, a lot of history has been written, and we are sure that this history is going to continue in the future. So I wish you all a happy new year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again on Boxing Day in 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. In closing, we'll now capture some of the excitement and magic of the Rolex Sydney Hobart for 2018. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let us reflect on yet another epic race, which was the 20th anniversary of the tragic events of 1998. that completes the formal side of our prize giving here today. I would ask you to remain seated though while the official party departs for the Rolex Village, and they'll be escorted by the Commodores Tracy Matthews and Paul Billingham. But I think the officials deserve a big round of applause as well for another magnificent race. So you may leave. We'll make sure you get an early start. The first start line, and we've got 2 other start lines for the rest. And then we invite you to partake in the celebrations at the Rolex Village. But thank you all for joining us here at the Grand Chancellor, and a safe and prosperous new year to you. And we now await and prepare with a lot of expectation for the historic 75th Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race starting on Boxing Day 2019. Thank you all for your attendance. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you.